Hello there, I'm Rhino GT4 and welcome back to the ETCC. It is time for round number 6, our second race at the Lime Rock Park full alternate course. And this time we're going to be doing 16 laps as opposed to 17, and there's going to be a mandatory pit stop in this race. So the big question here is, can everybody make it through the first chicane? Well, unlike in race number 1, especially with this different starting grid because of the random grid order, I'm starting in 3rd position. Invisible AK is starting towards the back in hopes that he can have some slight redemption over his unfortunate DNF in race number 1, as well as a couple other faster guys starting towards the back. But without further ado, let's get started. 16 laps around Lime Rock Park. As always, Muller in the Peugeot gets a good launch. I get a better launch in Afternoon 7 on the pole. Headed into turn 1, I kind of forced my way into the lead. Afternoon 7 is forced a little wide, and Prod EKR in the Honda takes 2nd place, as we have a massive accident behind us. Holy crap, what a crash. Hang on. We need to go back. We need to go back, because that was a mighty, mighty crash. Alright, let's see what happened here. Let's follow Muller here in the Peugeot. So heading into turn 1 here, we're going 3 wide. Myself, Afternoon 7, and Muller. Looks like Muller and 7 bump. Oh, and Muller gets a bump from C27 or CR27, whatever his name was, and everybody just piles into the wall on the inside, and everybody just, wow. Let's look at that again. So much was happening, I couldn't even keep up with it. So we had the initial bump we had into turn 1 was Muller and Afternoon 7 hooking, which forced Muller a little wide and 7 into the grass, as we went 3 wide into turn 1. So there's that little bump. That was just a racing incident, because 3 wide. And as Muller looks like Muller tries to move back down, as CR27 moves up the track to try to get that apex, they make contact, which sends them both sideways in front of pretty much the entire field. As they try to correct it, everybody piles in. Emil slams into CR27. Prod AMG has nowhere to go. Other cars are sideways, and everybody's locking up, trying to avoid the crash. Couple guys might make it through cleanly, but overall just a huge mess. Big loser in that is Prod Forza 4 AMG as the winner of race 1, so him getting the double is looking a little less likely now. So oh my goodness, and they're still crashing here in turn 2. Alright, let's go back here. I was going to rejoin myself in this battle for the lead, but we got more crashing happening here in turn 2. Here's some contact. There's Aza going wide, and AMG gets more contact from Muller. Wow. And here I thought the first chicane was going to be Calamity Corner, but no. This time it was turn 1. So let's go a little bit further up the field, see if everybody manages to make it through the chicane at least. Let's join the Pinketeer of Harry, K5. Well, at least everybody made it through the chicane, but then again, the field was kind of spread out due to the just massive accident. Well, who that did benefit, though, was myself and Prod EKR, as we got a huge gap on the rest of the field here as we come to complete lap 1. And I get my first taste of a legitimate lead here as I try to hold on. Heading into turn 1, I've actually pulled a little bit of a gap on EKR. And that's basically what I'm hoping to do, as I slide around the apex, using a little too much of the curb, upsetting my car. But we're fine. So the plan here is to try to pull some kind of a gap before the really fast guys show up, because they'll be here. Prod AMG might not be part of the fight now after his being heavily involved in that first accident, unfortunately, so that might knock one competitor out for me. So we head into the west chicane for the 2nd time. Nice and smooth. So EKR lights up the tires, trying to keep up with me, and doing a pretty good job at it. I have a feeling if EKR returns for the final 2 or the final 4 races, the two of us are going to have one hell of a battle amongst each other, which I am all for. Begin lap number 3, and into turn 1 and around. Things are kind of staying calm here between the two of us. So let's see what's going on in the back. Afternoon 7, even though he got hooked into the grass in the entry of turn 1, that might have actually helped him out, as he was able to avoid the massive crash that happened soon after and ended up in 3rd position, just behind Pix Bunny in his Scirocco. As he tries to make through the field, he was towards the back of the field in that crash and did get collected, but I don't think he sustained too much damage, as he was able to slam on the brakes and avoid heavy contact, thankfully. This afternoon 7-1, it's a very awkward line through the chicane. It gives Pix Bunny the run on the outside heading into the final turn. Going for 3rd place. Oh, neither driver giving an inch. And now the power of the Scirocco. I keep wanting to say Peugeot, it's Volkswagen. The power of the Scirocco allows Pix Bunny to take 3rd place. So this is going to be the man to look out for here in this race, as he's one of the Fast 3 and the top placed of the Fast 3. Going a little further back the field here on lap 4, we got Jimmy T 1996 up in 5th position, with Racing Heart GT hot on his tail, as well as Emil and Invisible AK trying to recover from his well-documented retirement. Oh, but AK runs wide into the tire wall on the exit of turn 3. That gives him a huge loss of momentum, as Boost and Ethanol tries to take advantage of it into the first chicane, can't quite reach the inside of him, and must fall back in line in 9th position. As Invisible AK gets a good run, he goes to the inside of Racing Hard GT into the west chicane and manages to take the spot up 7th place, and now he sets his sights on the real Emil in hopes of finishing. Oh, he goes wide again. He's really pushing hard to try to get the most out of his performance here. There's going to be some strategy involved with this race with the mandatory pit stops, so some cars will be pitting, whereas others will not at certain times, so that'll spread out the field a little bit. As AK continues to work on Emil and hope for the best, as he also has to defend from Racing Heart. Running a little wide, pushing that Scirocco past its limits almost. Using up as much road as he can. Oh, as we have contact behind him between Boost and Ethanol and Racing Hard GT. Looks like Boost went for a move into the chicane, but it didn't quite work out, and both of them got collided and spun sideways into the chicane, but luckily no damage, and they did not lose much time, and no positions were lost. So we're going to move our way back up to the front of the pack. We have Prod EKR getting overtaken by Pix Bunny here for 2nd place, as it looks like EKR might have had some issues up front here, as he's lost a ton of ground to myself, as it looks like I've built up quite a substantial gap, and that just put EKR into the clutches of Pix Bunny, and that Scirocco is just too quick for the Honda to handle. As he's still applying a lot of pressure, though, to try to gain the spot back as they head down the back straightaway into the first chicane, but cannot make a move. Still a very, very impressive debut weekend for Prod EKR, and also the debut weekend of the Honda as well in the ETCC. Going for a double podium here in debut. So head around the west chicane once again. A little bit of track limits shenanigans, but should not, hopefully, not turn into penalties. Hopefully. As for me, well, I'm cruising up front. Very, very worried about the fact that I see the name Microlin 100 in 2nd position. Undoubtedly closing the gap. Of course, Microlin 100's gamer tag of Pix Bunny. But trying to drive the wheels off this BMW, hold on to this lead as long as I can, and also trying to figure out pit strategy, as I still need to pit in this race, but we're still early on, so kind of have to factor in tire wear and all of that jazz in our pit strategy. Let's head into the west chicane. Running a little wide, using up the curb on the exit. Oh, sends me wide into the grass, into the wall, gets stuck on the wall. This is not at all what I wanted to have happen. Oh no. I lost a ton of momentum. I lose the lead to Pix Bunny as we see Harry exiting the pits in front of us. Oh no. Oh, and huge contact. Let's look back at that in a moment. Looks like I'm running my line, maybe an unintentional block on Prod EKR, and EKR he has huge impact with the back of my car, lifting the rear of his car up in the air. Doesn't look like he sustained much damage though. Let's hope he didn't. So that was a little wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong movements. Situation, unfortunately, as I quickly recover from that and hope to give some kind of chase to Pix Bunny. I know in the back of my mind that it's probably no use because he is a much better driver than I am, but it's worth a shot. I mean, if there ever was a track to actually gain on him, it would be Lime Rock, because Pix is not able to take advantage of that Scirocco as much as at other tracks here that have been running the ETCC. Excuse me, sneeze. It happens. Looks like we have somebody in the wall in the pit entry. Somebody did not quite execute the pit entry very well. Here at Lime Rock, pit entry is not that difficult, but there is a chicane as you enter, and it can be taken very quickly, but there's a big risk versus reward factor when you enter a pit lane very quickly like that. So if you get it wrong, you're in the wall. Well, in the tires. And that's no good, as I continue to try to chase down Pix Bunny here. I've completely lost track on what lap we're on. This should come as no surprise. It's going to continue to raise hard. Pix blowing up a lot of smoke through the west chicane. Could just be net code tire smoke and not actual, like, locking up the brakes tire smoke. We see more cars, more back markers exiting the pits on their mandatory pit stop. So I continue to give chase as Pix Bunny is catching up to Harry K5, excuse me, in the pink tier. Put him a lap down. If he's not able to make quick work of Harry, that could prove to be in my favor towards catching him and trying to take the lead and hopefully maybe getting my first win of the ETCC. And personally a very unlikely win. So we head into the first chicane yet again. Gap is slowly closing, it looks like. Looks like I'm driving a little better through that first chicane than Pix is currently. Head into the west chicane. Harry runs super wide to give us plenty of room to overtake him without compromising momentum. But I have latched onto the back of Pix Bunny Scirocco through this lap. Looks like it was just not a very good lap for Pix here. So I believe we're past the halfway point now. Lap 9 or 10, I don't know for sure. Looks like we've got more netcode tire smoke coming from Pix, as I don't remember that ever happening in front of me. Run a little wide on the first turn. Also a little momentum. Pix takes a very, very tight line through turn 2 though, and that allows me to keep my moment. Get a good run out of these next couple corners, but not enough to do anything with that Scirocco. So here's the difficulty of trying to pass on these Sciroccos is basically if I don't like make a move into a turn and clear him, he's gonna just pass me back with that acceleration. And that is which is gonna make these which makes these Volkswagens, excuse me, one of the more difficult cars to overtake here in ETCC. So we approach another back marker, this time of H. Pinder. Hopefully back marker shenanigans don't happen this time involving him, as Pix Bunny peels off into pit lane to make his pit stop. And we have cars exiting the pits right in front of me. DJ Yuyuko exiting right beside me. Luckily, I'm able to get around him before the first turn and avoid any contact or loss of time. So now it's time to go, go, go. Try my hardest to gain the most time here on Pix Bunny. Maybe I can do the overcut, just like I did at Race 2 in Brands Hatch, but I do have this Peugeot of H. Pender in my way. It's a very nice Martini livery. New livery for Pender this weekend with the Martini livery. It looks very, very nice. So I'm able to get around them cleanly into the first chicane, but compromises a little bit of track position and momentum to make the overtake. Hopefully it's not too much of a loss. Let's head through the west chicane and down the hill into the final turn. I'm going to pit this lap. Mostly clear, well, not really clear track ahead of me. There's a lot of cars. Yes, I'm peeling into pit lane as I go flying into pit lane as fast as possible. And there's Invisible AK, who's worked his way up to 3rd position, entering the pits just behind me. So exiting the pits, Invisible AK, we're looking out for that Scirocco Pix Bunny. That might be him exiting the last turn, going a little wide into the grass. So here we go. Who's going to get the lead out of the pit lane? Here comes Pix Bunny. Here I come out of the pits, and Pix is barely able to slide in front of me as I exit. So almost got the overcut, but not quite. So I was not able to pull another Brands Hatch, unfortunately. But now the chase is on, as this is the fight for the win. As we both made our mandatory pit stops, it is on now. Don't have any competition behind us. Invisible AK in 3rd place, but is quite a ways behind. So as we head into the first chicane, actually he's not even that far behind. He's a lot closer than I thought he was. I saw him in the background. So if the two of us have any kind of issues, here's AK to pick up the scraps and pick up the win that he almost could have gotten in race 1. But he was, I believe he did. Yeah, he did get overtaken by Prod AMG before his unfortunate DNF, as Pix Bunny runs very wide out of the final turn into the grass, but does not cost him any time. So I slide into turn 1, maybe a little too hard on the brakes. At this point, I believe the cone I used on the outside approaching turn 1 that I used as a braking reference was taken out, so pretty much blind into turn 1. I'm braking now. I'm kind of pushing the car a little too hard, hitting these apexes a little too soon, and just generally upsetting the car immensely. This Pix Bunny runs a little wide through the first chicane, puts me right on his back bumper. I get a little run out, but not able to do anything with it because of that Scirocco's power down the straightaway. So we head into the west chicane. I'm looking for any type of overtaking maneuver that I can do, but there aren't very many passing opportunities here around Lime Rock. It's a fun track, very fast and flowy, but when it comes to overtaking, not one of the best places. But the fight continues here up front between myself and Pix Bunny as we head into turn 1 yet again. Take a slightly tighter line around turn 1 than Pix, but it does not cost me any time. This time we change roles as I take the wider line through turn 2 and Pix takes the tighter line. Flick it around over the curbs. The apex turn 3, get a great run out, but once again not able to do anything about it. So we head into the first chicane. Ooh, just barely getting that slightly better apex. Once again moving to the outside on Pix, or not quite. Thought it was moving to the outside in the exit, couldn't tell from that camera angle. We are nose to tail around the entire track. Both of us get that chicane a little wrong. I get it more wrong than Pix, and lose quite a bit of time with that big slide out of the west chicane. So we approach the pink tier Harry. So that's one thing that could equalize this battle, is the back marker threat. We shall see what happens though. Let's head around turn 1. Trying my best to close this gap. I believe we're on the final lap here, if I remember at what point this gap was made. So this is the run for the win, trying desperately to close this gap as we are both pushing very, very hard. Picks to keep the lead, me to try to catch him and take the lead back and take my first victory here in the ETCC. I believe this would be the second one for Pix Bunny. I can't remember if he has a victory or not, as Harry runs wide in the pink tier to give us plenty of room to fight. Pix takes a very wide entry, but a good line through the west chicane. And there's nothing I can do about it, as we both running very, very hard here in this final lap. And I believe this is the run to the line. Yes, it is. It's Pix Bunny showboats a little, does a handbrake slide across the line in celebration, and taking the victory in race 2 in what would be both of us setting our fastest lap on the last lap. Pix Bunny a 1 minute 2.1, myself a 1 minute 2.4. Wow, what an incredible race. Fight for the lead throughout the entire race for myself, which is really nice. I probably could have picked up the victory had I not ran wide earlier and got stuck on the wall in the approaching the final turn, but shit happens, and then Harry has some issues with my drivatar. And yeah, we just kind of have all kinds of drivatar issues here in the first chicane. So that'll conclude race number 2. So after another crazy exciting race at Lime Rock Park, Pix Bunny takes the victory just 1 second over myself in second place. Invisible AK brings up third, just 5 seconds back. Prod Forza 4 AMG just doesn't quite make the podium, but he does a nice recovery after that turn 1 crash in 4th position, just in front of his teammate Prod EKR. Jimmy T 1996, another strong performance in 6th position. The Real Meal 7th place. Afternoon 7 finishes 8th. CR 27 gets his first points and also his first finish in his second start in 9th position. And Muller Milch 245 just makes it into the top 10, scoring 1 point in 10th position. And here is the rest of the results. We had 2 retirements from the race, and all but one of the finishing drivers finished on the lead lap, which is really cool. As far as the points after race 6, well, Forza 4 AMG is no longer in the points lead, as now Pix Bunny takes the 1 point advantage after his victory at Lime Rock. I stay in 3rd place, gaining 3 points on Invisible AK, and Emil stays comfortably in 5th position after Harry K5 and Racing Heart GT are not able to score any points in this event, but they still hold on to their joint 6th position, as Prod EKR jumps up to 7th in just 2 races. Very, very strong debut for EKR. As we look at the rest of the point standings, and we head into the Manufacturers' Cup. So after 6 races, BMW still manages to hold on to the lead, now 5 points up on Volkswagen, believe increasing their lead by 2 points. Ford remains in 3rd position, a very distant 3rd, and Honda, thanks to the efforts of Prod EKR, finally joins the board in 4th position after, like I said, 2 very good performances from Prod EKR. Subaru now gets dumped back to 5th, Peugeot 6th, and Lexus and Mazda remain in joint 7th position after Lime Rock. So that'll conclude this weekend of ETCC action. Join us next week, where we'll be going to the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit for 2 exciting races. Turn 1 is going to be a very, very interesting place. You're not going to want to miss this, so if you'd like to see this happen live, join me on Twitch Friday at around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time for the races, and then to see the replays, join me on Saturday and Sunday after the race, where you'll see full race replays on my channel. So with that, thank you for watching the ETCC, and we'll see you at the Nürburgring.